Dan, it's the team that just keeps giving, our Cleveland Browns. So Myles Garrett reinstated by the league. Really, really good news. Not unexpected, but the fact that it got done so quickly is a good thing.
Yeah, and when he met with the league, recently, it kind of felt like this was going to come. And they wanted to get him back, I think, before OTAs started and the offseason program started. So the Browns are going to have him back for all of that. He'll be full go come April. And that's really, I think, what he and the organization wanted.
And we find out that this weekend, he will have a sit-down outside the lines with ESPN and talk in-depth about the situation. As they do, they released a little teaser of it, and, we heard he reiterated the claim that he made pretty much right away that, we had heard about, that he was called a racial epithet, the stupid N-word, as he referred to it, which, again, you could see where that might make someone snap.
Yeah, and, it was interesting. He sort of hesitated a little bit before he answered that question when Mina Kimes asked what Mason Rudolph said to him. And after the game, I was there in that scrum, and he didn't really want to get into it. It seemed like it was something that initially he wanted to keep under wraps. I remember after the appeal, it got leaked, and he didn't seem real happy about that. He felt like anything he said in that setting was going to remain private. Now, we kind of know how that works. Nothing is really private in this world. So he even felt a little bit uncomfortable that he was bringing it up in that setting, but he doubled down on it. It's very telling that he said it again, and he got more specific this time around.
But and the other thing is again, he reiterated the fact that he has a problem believing that nobody picked it up. He was told, with all the cameras and microphones and things that are on an NFL film, and you and I know that more than anybody, he said, they said it wasn't there, so, you figure that out.
Yeah, it was. He kind of went after the league a little bit, which surprised me because he did just get reinstated. So I was a little surprised that he did make the decision to go after the league and sort of call them out a little bit on the whole audio side of it. I mean, he knows, look, you usually have a couple offensive linemen mic'd up to pick up that snap count. The quarterback is usually mic'd up. Now, the way Myles explained it is, Mason Rudolph needed a different helmet that didn't have a microphone on it. The whole there is no audio thing was always a little... We all know how that works, right? The NFL is reality TV.
Exactly.
I can understand if, you say something like, well, we couldn't just pick anything up. Yeah, that would make sense. There's a lot of moving parts in that situation,
but they got
muffled audio and things like that.
They got very specific. We shut it down. We did this. We did that.
Yeah, and I do think there is some, look, they don't have... a lot of stuff, they do shut that down at some point. And of course, the quarterback to coach communication is shut down at 15 seconds on the play clock. We don't hear that entire audio during the broadcast. Teams don't want that stuff going out. It's not audio that the league said. They told Mary Kay Cabot that they don't keep that audio. They just get rid of it. It's not recorded anywhere. Again, we know how this works. We see mic'd up segments. We see NFL films all the time. This was a Thursday night national TV game. I see
between
where
division rivals.
Right. I see where Myles is going with this. But I did think it was a little, I'm not sure exactly why he wants to go after the NFL right after he got reinstated.
But the flip side of it is I was a little surprised how quickly the commissioner came out and said, he's suspended for the rest of the year. And that's the other part of this. If that comes out audio-wise, that's a problem.
Yeah, and that was the whole situation, right? This is on national TV, like we said. Had this happened on a Sunday at 1 o'clock, you do wonder if he gets an indefinite suspension. Maybe he gets suspended for the rest of the season, but just the language of indefinite suspension, right? Even though it just ended up being for the season. You wonder if the punishment is as strong if this happens at 3:30 on a Sunday afternoon, as opposed to, again, on Thursday Night Football, national TV, the closing seconds of the game. This wasn't even in the middle of the game. It was everybody was getting ready to tune out, and all of a sudden, it's in the spotlight, and it just blows up from there.
And the flip side of it is, why are the Steelers passing in that situation? But that's a whole different, and you could say the Browns defense did not recover from him not being there.
Yeah, and they were starting to get banged up too. Anyway, I mean, they just lost Morgan Burnett earlier in that game. You know, Jermaine Whitehead was gone already too for very different reasons. But you know, the defense was getting banged up. Myles Garrett had one of his best games. You know, he was all over Mason Rudolph in that game. He didn't put up big sack numbers, but he was all over him. You know, you knew he was trying to get one of those garbage time sacks. That's what all these guys are trying to do. I remember a play where Larry Ogunjobi got to Rudolph just a few seconds before Myles, and Myles kind of went like this afterwards, like, that was going to be my sack. He wanted one, and that sort of led to everything when he pulled Mason Rudolph down, and then Mason escalated it from there. So it was just an ugly situation, and really, you're right. I mean, the Steelers probably didn't need to be passing the ball there. I don't know what the thinking was behind that.
Well, you know, having said that, what type of impact does he have on this defense with the new defensive coordinator? I mean, I got to imagine any defensive coordinator wants, 95 of the Browns up front there.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that keeps offensive coordinators up at night and offensive line coaches up at night, because even when he's not getting sacks, he's getting push and he's getting pressure and he's moving the quarterback off of his spot and he's rushing the quarterback. He's making him throw the ball sooner. He's not great in the run game yet, but the scary thing with Myles is I think there's another level. We haven't seen him have game after game of like Aaron Donald impact, right? When you watch the Rams, there's some games where you just see 99 all day. And we haven't seen that as much with Myles. And the next level with him is you're going to watch on Sundays and you're just going to notice 95 on every single play in the backfield impacting the game.
And guys like that tend to make guys next to them and behind them that much better.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I mean, we saw it when he was out. All of a sudden they're going with Porter Gustin and Brandon Bryant and guys that we've never heard of, and Olivier Vernon was out as well, and it just changed the pass rush. And that's how this team was built. This team was built to create pressure. That's what they spent their money on. That's what they put their resources towards. Create pressure, make everything else easier through that. That's how you win in the NFL, is pressure, and Myles Garrett is the start of that.